I find it very interesting that just at a time when it's become obvious even from the FBI's own charging documents, that what happened on January 6th was not a riot, not a terrorist act, not a coup, not an insurrection. All the left's analogies to the Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11, all of this has been shown to be just laughable, absurd, that the left is sort of digging in on this. Yes, it really is like 9/11. And here's Dave Mastio in USA Today. He's the editorial page editor of USA Today. And he has an article basically saying Republicans prove that they are a bigger threat than the 9/11 hijackers. Think of what he's saying. He's basically saying the main opposition party in America should be treated worse than terrorists. What does he want the government to do? Bomb Republicans around the country? But evidently they're a bigger threat than the 9/11 terrorists. Let's explore this because I want to comment on a few of his statements. First, he says the January 6th body count was low. Low. He really means non-existent because no one was intentionally killed. Well, the body count was one, Ashley Babbitt, killed by a Capitol police officer. But the body count was low, not because of the peaceful intentions of the insurrectionists, but because of the heroism and restraint of the Capitol police officer. So evidently, the Capitol police officers were so great that he goes, if members of the House and Senate had not successfully fled the rioters, lawmakers might well have been held hostage or killed. So first of all, it's very interesting whenever someone tries to make their case based upon what we call counterfactual history. Counterfactual history is, it could have happened this way. It's kind of like someone comes and, let's say, robs a stereo or a VCR or TV from my house, and I go, well, it's a good thing that I was home when this happened, because if I wasn't home, they could have raped my wife and my children. They could have attacked them. They didn't, but they could have. So, let's treat them as if they're rapists and murderers, even though they didn't rape or murder anybody. They just stole a TV, but it could have gone that way. So this is right away, you know that you're off on the wrong track. Let's keep going. Dave Mastio continues. He goes, all of this is based on the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen from President Trump. Now, they like to repeat this phrase, the big lie, the big lie, the big lie. And my question is, where's the proof that it's a lie? Where is the actual evidence? A lie implies an intentional untruth. So the idea here is all these insurrections knew that they were lying. And let me ask you this, why would you show up in Washington and go to such lengths for something you believe to be a lie? Why would people take these actions for something they know to be false? They obviously wouldn't. The point I want to make is, I know for a fact that there was fraud in the 2020 election. I don't know how much there was. I don't know if there was enough to tip the election. So I'm not entirely sure who won the 2020 election. But I'm not part of a big lie. I'm willing to look at whatever evidence there is or isn't. I'm looking, for example, with some interest right now at the Maricopa audit. So this notion that it's sort of a known lie is itself a lie. Now, let's move on. Dave Mastio says that it should alarm everybody that, quote, a majority of Republicans believe our election was stolen. Now, first of all, he himself is being a little deceitful here, because if you believe the latest Rasmussen poll, it's not just that a majority of Americans believe, not just that a majority of Republicans believe the election was stolen, it's a majority of Americans. 51% of Americans, says Rasmussen, believe there was significant cheating in the election. Now think about that. Those are probably all the people who voted for Trump. Obviously, if you voted for Biden, you're less likely to think that. You're unlikely to think that at all. And right there, the 51% is a majority. That's a majority of the American people right there. Now, moving on with Mastio, he says the members of the House and Senate who voted to overturn the results of the 2020 election, well, first of all, no one voted to do that, are plotting to take over Congress so they can control the results next time. Listen to this madness. They're plotting to take over Congress. How? By winning the midterms? By persuading an electoral majority to go with them? By appealing to the consent of the governed? This actual exercise of democracy, campaigning, what is wrong with taking the debate over 2020 and putting it on the ballot in 2022? That happens all the time in American politics. That's called exercising democracy, not undermining it. Bottom line of it, the left has gone completely deranged on January 6th. And for political purposes, they're hoping to use it to cement a political advantage, in a sense to make the political advantage permanent, and to treat a legitimate domestic political opposition as a bunch of terrorists.